Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kajanan and I'm a final year medical student, or at least I was a final year medical student until very recently, where I've graduated finally from medical school, yay. And in this video I kind of wanted to talk about that process of graduating and just what it's been like, I don't know, being a medical student for the past 5 years, and I guess now what I'm looking forward to or not looking forward to about being an adult and actually having a full-time job and all those kinds of things. So this is going to be a very long and rambly video, very informal. I'm not going to try and overly edit it, because I think one of the things that I'm going to talk about is the future of the YouTube channel, and I'm finding less and less that I'm enjoying the editing process and I don't have as much time for it, etc. So I kind of just want to do this off the cuff and make it authentic, I guess. So yeah, I guess we'll start off just by talking about graduation. So I graduated in the middle of this month, December 2022, and that was a cool experience, you know, getting to do all the things where like you throw your hat and wear the cool robes and all that kind of stuff. It was nice. It was a very surreal day. Like I kind of just felt like I was, you know, going through the motions, but I don't know, it didn't really feel real, I guess, because I've been a student for 7 years now at university, and, you know, I don't know, 10, 12 years at high school and primary school before that, and so this day kind of felt like the end of the student era for me, which, yeah, it didn't feel very real because it's been such a large part of my life and my identity up till now. And I don't think I fully articulated, even internally, my thoughts about how I feel about graduating and all that. But I do have a couple of things that I have thought about. And I guess one of the first things is I'm quite excited about the future and, you know, moving to the next chapter of life. And when I was talking to some of my friends about this, they mentioned how they are actually, you know, that being a student is amazing and you have so much free time, you get to hang out with your friends, and there's not really, from now on, there's not really any opportunity to do that the same as there was when you were a student. And while I agree, and I think I've also had a slightly different experience in that I've, you know, lived at home for the most part, so I haven't been around friends all day, every day, like they might have been. I've had that different experience, but I've enjoyed, you know, spending more time with friends and all that kind of stuff. But I think I'm ready for the next stage, and I guess hanging out with people in a professional setting where I'm, you know, giving back to the community and society and actually, yeah, contributing as an adult, etc. So while I do acknowledge that all those, you know, there was a lot of great things about being a student, I'm just ready for the next chapter. Like it's not like I've had enough and it was terrible, but I had a good time, but I'm just ready for what's next. Anyway, that's all about friends and stuff. Let's see what else I've got here. Yeah, so I am ready for the next chapter of life and like contributing to society, as I mentioned, and having more responsibility, because one of the bad things about being a medical student is that you don't really have any responsibility, which is good, but also can be a bad thing, and you don't feel like you're very valuable in the clinical environment. So I'm ready to have, yeah, a bit more responsibility and to actually feel needed and useful, I guess. I'm keen to move out, so I don't know if I've mentioned this, that I've got a job in Sydney, and so I'll be moving there next year. And so, yeah, that's going to be very exciting, because apart from last year when I was in Tamworth for a year, I've lived at home my entire life. So, you know, that a lot of people will be like, what the hell, you're 24 years old or whatever and you still live at home, that's crazy. And fair enough, but I guess I've got a great relationship with my parents, and living at home is easy, it's cheaper, and while it has been so good over the past 20 whatever years to stay with them, I am ready for the next stage and to just like have my own space and all that kind of stuff. So very excited about that. What else? Earning an income. Yeah, I am very excited to start earning. One of the worst parts about being a student is how poor you are in terms of financial, in a financial sense, and not, going to a restaurant and having to like look at the prices of stuff before you buy a meal or whatever. It's annoying, but it just goes with being a student. And so I guess I'm glad, because I've done that for 7 or more years now, and I'm ready for that to be over. So that's one of the things I'm most keen about. And then I've got learning practical skills. Yeah, so I guess a lot of the stuff that you learn in uni it's not theoretical, but like you learn from books. But I think a lot of what you need to know as a doctor is actually learning on the job. And while there has been some of that during clinical time, I think there'll be even more of it over the next few years working as a doctor, and I'm very excited about that. There's lots of cool procedures and stuff that I've heard about, but I haven't been able to do as of yet, and I'm just keen to get stuck in and use the knowledge that I have gained to help other people, and also continue to learn things in the future, and choose a specialty, I guess, when that decision comes around, which I guess is a topic for another video, but I've kind of talked about it in the past, about where I'm at in terms of what specialties I'm thinking about and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, for now I'm still not set on anything, and I'm keen to explore a few things and see what happens. Med school has been more challenging, I guess, than I anticipated, but still, great. And I guess the challenges have been in a sense that I guess I'd never really thought about things other than medicine, and I only started thinking about that once I was in medicine. So then I kind of had this internal conflict about, whether medicine was the right path or whether I could do one of these other interesting things, because there's so many sacrifices that you have to make in a career in medicine. But there's lots of other, fun ways to work, I guess. And so those were a lot of the thoughts that kind of started creeping into my head during the pandemic, when we had a lot more time, like free time, not studying medicine because, the uni was in shambles because nobody had prepared for this. And so, yeah, those thoughts have kind of entered my mind for the past few years. But I think this year, as I've started to, in the tail end of this year, enjoy medicine a lot more, it's kind of solidified that desire that I had initially to pursue medicine. And I do want to work, and we'll see what happens once I do start working. But I think I've realized that I don't solely want to be a doctor, especially because we only have one life, and I feel like it would just be a little bit of a waste to do the same thing for the next 40 or 50 years of my career. And so, yeah, I will work full time for now, but I'm open to the idea of, in the future, changing it up a bit and exploring other things. Because there's so many interesting things out there, and I don't want to just do medicine and that be the only thing that I do. So one of the other things that's quite interesting about being a medical student is that you've always got this safety net, right? You can always say, oh, I'm still a medical student, I can't do this, etc. And there was a day on so one of the things I've been doing over the past couple of months is I've been working as an assistant in medicine. So what that is the government has created these new positions for final year medical students to occupy, and they're paid roles, and they kind of allow us to help in a more formalized way and get paid for our help to lighten the load on the junior doctors. That's the theory of our positions. And so I've been working in that role over the past few months. And so I had my last shift on Christmas Day, which was a pretty good experience. I know a lot of you are probably like, what, you worked on Christmas Day as a student? That's crazy. But, I'm getting paid overtime to work on a public holiday, and I wanted to, because we're not a real big Christmas family. etc. Anyway, that's not the point I wanted to get across. What I did want to get across is that, so on this last shift, when I came back, and this was after I'd graduated, the doctors that I was working with were now like, oh, you're a doctor now, you've got your piece of paper, we're going to give you more responsibility. And so when I was seeing patients and that sort of thing, even though technically I haven't got a job, I do have the qualification, I guess, and I couldn't rely on saying I'm not a doctor, I'm just a student. Although I did still say that, because realistically I'm working kind of like a student role, so I can still fall back on that. But that's one of the things that I'm, I guess, not scared about, but kind of scared about, is that I'm no longer going to have that safety net of saying, oh, I don't know how to do this, I'm a student. I mean, you can always, as a doctor, say, I don't know how to do this, I don't feel comfortable, and get senior help, especially as a junior. But, even, I guess there are basic things that even back in the day I would say that I didn't know how to do, like some examination techniques, etc. But now there's kind of an expectation that I do know how to. And that's, I guess it's uncomfortable to think that I'm going to have to do lots more and have lots more responsibility. But on the flip side, it's also a good thing. But not having that safety net is a bit scary. And I guess related to that is, and everyone talks about this imposter syndrome. And again, it's something that I never really thought I would relate to, I guess, just because I feel like I try hard-ish at times to study well, and so for the most part, especially in the back half of the year as we're nearing the end of our degree and learning more about like the skills that we need and the tasks that we have to perform, etc., I've felt quite confident that I'm able to do those things that like an intern or a junior doctor would have to do. But now that I've stopped being in the hospital so much and I'm actually thinking about what is it that, a junior doctor will have to do, it is getting a bit more real, that feeling of imposter syndrome, and not knowing if, the way that I do something is the right way or the same way that my peers would do it, not knowing if I have the same, like, enough knowledge to be able to adequately care for someone safely, etc. But I guess I know this is something everyone goes through, and it's a pretty common feeling. And at the end of the day, I do know, enough to get through. And I'm reassured because a few of the different talks that I've been to where doctors have kind of talked about being a junior medical officer, they've kind of said that realistically there isn't a huge expectation on you, especially in the first few months, because you really don't know a whole lot and you learn so much on the job. So it is nice to know that, but it doesn't really fully take away that feeling of I guess, that like unsure and like, do I really have the qualifications to make decisions about patients? And yes, you have senior help and all that, but there will be times, even if they're a minor decision, that it is like your decision. Wait, I think somebody might have just rung the doorbell. I'll be back in a second. Oh, okay, that was just some underwear. Nothing exciting. So, where were we? Imposter syndrome. Alright, I think I talked about that enough. There's nothing else I can think of that I want to reflect upon, but I would just say medical school has been a great experience, and if you are considering applying, you should, and I would recommend it to anyone. But you should make an informed decision. You should try and gather as much information as you can, and if you need some resources on ways to learn more about medical school, I've got some videos which you can check, just by clicking on my... Anyway, whatever. Just check out some videos by me or other people, because it is a big commitment. There's a lot of sacrifices you have to make, and if you haven't, or if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, then it's going to be a tough career to continue in. But nonetheless, it's a great one. Now, about the future. So, one of the things I've got coming up, which I'm excited about, is a New Zealand trip, which will be quite fun in the new year. And then after that, I'll start work. So, I start work in mid to late January. And as I mentioned, I'm working in Sydney, so I'm going to have to find a house, and there's going to be lots of stuff related to that, and moving to a new environment. That means that I'm not going to probably make a video for a while. And I guess that kind of comes onto another main topic that I want to talk about, just like the future of this YouTube channel. So, over the past few months, as you can probably tell, I've put less time and less effort into making these videos. I made a lot more shorts videos. I've probably not edited them as much as I have in the past. I haven't filmed as much B-roll as I have in the past. And that's all to say, or like the reason why that's all kind of happening is because I just have less time, and there's other ways that I want to spend my time, is probably the best summation of it. Now, don't get me wrong, if I had been as successful as I hope to have been and, had a few thousand subscribers or whatever, then maybe I would have more motivation to continue uploading videos. But, I've made 40 plus videos and I have still not reached 1,000 subscribers. And so I'm just aware that while this has been fun, there are also lots of other fun things I could do, which wouldn't even be as much of a time commitment as this is. So keeping that in mind, going forward, I don't think I'm going to make as many videos as I have in the past. So for example, this year I was trying to upload a video every fortnight, and I'm definitely not going to try and maintain that level of publishing next year. I do still want to make some videos, but I think I want to make low effort videos. I still enjoy talking on the camera, I still enjoy thinking about things, I still enjoy interacting with people who ask questions, but I just want to make low effort videos with minimal editing, minimal overlaid footage. And yeah, even though I would love to have, the best quality videos with great B-roll, super engaging, all that kind of stuff, I think for as of the next couple of months, that's not going to be a priority. Again, things could change. They changed between 6 months ago and now. They could change again in 6 months' time. But for now, if I do make a video, it's going to be low-ish effort. I'm happy to do lots of Q&As if people have questions, which, I do get some questions in the comments of videos, which maybe rather than addressing that particular comment, I might just make a video about in the future. I also want to do interviews and stuff with doctors from Australia, because I think that's one of the big areas that's lacking in this kind of field of medicine, is that there's not really much Australian specific stuff. There's a lot of general stuff, a lot of US, UK stuff, but not really any Australian stuff. And I feel like there is a need for content in that area, and I'm keen to continue to help out where I can. But I also know that there are other aspects of my life that I want to focus on. And this is probably going to take a back seat. So I apologize for that if you were, stinging to see me every couple of weeks, which, let's be honest, the only person who's in that bucket is my parents and my sister, probably. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking about when it comes to YouTube. What else have I got to talk about? Okay. So the last thing I've got was about being excited to reinvent myself. And because I'll be moving to a new environment with people that I've never seen before, never met before, I can really present any version of myself that I want to. And throughout my time at university, I've been quite reserved and quiet. And I am keen to try and become more confident and present a more outgoing version of myself when I'm working in Sydney next year. And so I'm keen to explore that, and I don't know, reflect on how that experience is, because we all have different sides of our personality that comes out at different times. And I know when I've been on placement here in Newcastle, I've very much been the quiet one who just stands in the corner, doesn't really try to talk to people. And I think a lot of that is because of just being powerless as a medical student and not really feeling like you have much value or that you can add much to the clinical team. And so now with this new responsibility of being a junior doctor, I want to present a more confident version of myself to the hospital, because I think that also just makes for better patient care and interaction, because if somebody looks like they know what they're doing, then the patient probably would feel, I know for myself, like for example, if I'm getting a blood test, if the phlebotomist looks like they know what they're doing, then you just feel more calm and reassured, even if internally, they might be struggling or whatever, or anxious. So that's one of the reasons why I want to be more confident and outgoing. But then just, it's going to be a new environment, and I want to make new friends and all that kind of stuff. And as you get older, making friends becomes more difficult, and it's only through making intentional efforts that can happen. And I want to be the kind of person who, puts feelers out and tries to make friends, and is just like a friendly, outgoing, confident person. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. I mean, in general, I'm just optimistic about the future and keen to see what happens, because it's an exciting part of my life, transitioning from student to adult and full-time work and all those kinds of things. So keen to see what happens, keen to continue documenting some of it on YouTube, and maybe making a video like this, every couple of months or so, with other videos scattered throughout. There's just so much exciting stuff that I've got to look forward to, and I'm very blessed to have gotten to the end of medical school, firstly for even getting into med school, and then getting through it and passing all my exams, and also just very grateful for the life I've been able to live, and my parents and my family, my friends, etc. Just very lucky. It's one of the things, I could easily be living in, for example, Sri Lanka, where my family are from, and not have these same opportunities, not being able to talk to a camera, all that kind of stuff. And my life could be so different, and I'm just very grateful that this is the life that I get to live. Anyway, so that is it for this video. I'm not sure when the next video will be uploaded, but yeah. Also, I just want to say thank you everyone for watching these videos. I really appreciate it, and it is a great privilege to be able to, put these videos out into the world, and somebody on the other side is willing to spend their time to listen to what I have to say. So thank you for that. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. I mean, it's a bit late for that, but Happy New Year at least. And I'll see you in the next one.